Non-profit space is quite far behind, to say the least. And when I say that, I mean even automations are not in place in many non-profits. We are not an AI first organization where we say AI is all we do. Non-profit finance teams always struggle to figure out how many different program budgets and all of that can be managed. So there's a disconnect between what a business and a non-profit might be needing. So the current SaaS products were not supporting. At the heart of how we are building Appo is every non-profit workflow has to be catered to.
If you need to say how does the tech in social sector looks like. Namaste everyone. We are back with the podcast on the social sector, and today we have Piyali. Piyali is the founder at Tech for Social Good. Welcome, Piyali.
Thanks a lot, Mahala. It's really nice to be here. I have seen some of your podcasts already in this same series. So, yeah, nice to be one of the guests here.
And we are excited, Piyali, considering we would be talking about Tech for Social Good. The work that you're doing is also sort of innovative and new stuff that people wanted to know, like how and what sort of different career someone can explore, be it with nonprofit or be it with social impact organization focused on serving to nonprofit. So excited and welcoming you. Those who are watching, PLE has been in the ecosystem for almost 15 years now. She has been working with people and has been the CTO for Tech for Dev and Coro India and few other org. And she started Tech for Social Good. And today's Tech for Social Good also drives some new initiative under Appo. Appo is an HRMS platform and is also of one platform which is helping enabling nonprofit to have their in-house tech sort of solution. So welcome, Piyali. And while we would be talking about so many things, why don't you just help us about how you started Tech for Social Good? What is the idea behind Appo? What is something that you're doing today through the Appo and how that is changing the or shaping the ecosystem?
Okay, thank you. Before I started, I was working with the nonprofit sector over a decade, and I think from that experiences, I think something that Tech for Social Good is in existence because I realized that like there are also other organizations who are working for the same purpose where the world is going towards AI and all of that. Nonprofit space is quite far behind, to say the least. And when I say that, I mean even automations are not in place in many nonprofits. There are many manual works that people keep doing, which can be very well automated. So sometimes it can be skill set for the organization, sometimes it can be funding, sometimes it can be both, right? So where the world is moving towards agentic AI, we realize that nonprofit still needs a lot of automation related support as well. And I think in our work, we take automation as a primary goal and AI is part of that, right? It's like one of the ingredients of while we are doing automations. We are not an AI first organization where we say AI is all we do. We are trying to help nonprofits to have excellent business automation, be in any area of their organization, be it their central operations or their programs that they're managing. And that is why Tech for Social Good exists.
एंड आपने रिसेंटली ऐपो स्टार्ट किया, अगर आप उसके बारे में भी बात कर पाए थोड़ा कि कैसे वो नॉन प्रॉफिट को
Sure.
हेल्प कर रहा है, उसका नीड कैसे लगा। अज्यूमिंग बहुत सारे संस्थाओं के साथ एज ए फ्रैक्शनल सीटीओ आपने जब काम किया, तो आई एम श्योर देयर आर सो मेनी चैलेंजेस एंड द इनसाइट्स दैट यू माइट हैव हैड। सो ये ऐपो कैसे एग्जिस्टेंस में है and आज कैसे आप क्या सोल्व कर रहे हैं उससे।
तो वाई वर्किंग विद द नॉन प्रॉफिट्स ना, एक चीज मैंने बार बार रियलाइज किया है, इनिशियली टेक फॉर सोशल गुड वाज अ सर्विस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जहाँ पे we will take an off the shelf products, and the products that we were using initially was Zoho products. Zoho has an entire set of application that can be used for business automations, and we were using Zohos to automate either their programs or departments. Now while working with Zoho products and also seeing what other things the non-profits are doing, so there are two things that were happening. Either you take an off-the-shelf product like Zoho, or either nonprofits are going for the custom solutions or open source. When I look at it, for me, I think the way I see it, I don't think none of them are sustainable. For example, Zoho is a very great product, but at the same time, Zoho was not built around non-profit workflows, including Zoho Finance and all of that. Non-profit finance teams always struggle to figure out how many different program budgets and all of that can be managed. So in every Zoho product, although it is very excellent product and we have implemented many Zoho product, but we come to a point where we realize that those products were not really solving for what the non-profits was needing, because there's a disconnect between what a business and a non-profit might be needing. So the current SaaS products were not supporting. And what were the alternative then? Either then non-profit will go and do a custom one, or they take a open source one. Custom one and open source one, although from the top it might see like the maybe open source one will be cheaper or maybe sustainable. Non-profits use non-profits these type of applications, which is custom made or open source. We have seen repeatedly that they come to a point where things are not working, and it's a way more expensive than they thought or they ever imagined it to be, both in custom and in open source. So SaaS platforms that are in the market that were not solving for the non-profit workflows, and what is the alternative, which is the custom and open source, were actually making it more of a headache than actually it shall be. So we decided that there should be another set of application that does business automation, and they shouldn't be like custom नहीं होना चाहिए, open source नहीं होना चाहिए, SaaS होना चाहिए off the shelf, because that is the sweet spot जहाँ पे non-profits can get started from day one. They do not have to develop a product and burn like 10-20 lakhs before using the product. So we started building our own SaaS product, which is called Appo. Appo is a product suite like Zoho we had, but Appo is built specifically around non-profit workflow. So we, at the heart of how we are building Appo, is every non-profit workflow has to be catered to. So currently under Appo, we have a learning management system and HRMS, and we have another ERP system that is coming up. So these are the three products that we have. We envision the ERP to be doing HRMS, LMS, plus many other things that the non-profits needs, including finance management, including forms, CRM, and all of that. But that's something we are still building. And the LMS and HRMS is already in existence.
So good to hear. And since you have been in the ecosystem playing the tech role, building something and that also at the lower cost, solving this is something is the need of our. Also, Piyali, today I also had a follow-up question, which is around you mentioned AI. Everyone is talking about AI, and AI. How do you look at it? You have been in this role and then now also at Tech for Social Good. I'm sure many nonprofit might be reaching out to you. What is something that nonprofit should be mindful, or what is something that the people who are watching they should look at AI when they are working with social or impact focused organizations?
So, yeah, I think it's a very apt question for the time that we are kind of going through, like the entire AI revolution that's going on. So in my sense, now I think most of the people like when something new comes, it's like AI is like a new toy, and everybody is obsessed about it. A lot of people are struggling to figure out how they use it or what. But yeah, it sounds very fancy. It looks like the newest toy in the town, and you want to play with it. But again, you do not know where you will even get started. But how I see AI, I do not think that AI obsessions is something that we actually practice. And Tech for Social Good, even after being a tech company and working in the automation space, AI is not something that we approach as an AI. As everybody knows that AI is a tool, and the software system that we have, like the learning management system, the HR management system, in there we are adding AI where it's needed. For example, in the recruitment part, right? In an HR system, we have the recruitment module. And we have seen that earlier recruitment was, there was a ATS, right? The automatic application tracker, where you can kind of filter and the system can reject and kind of select the system. And now with the help of AI, you can even do it at a level mode, right? Earlier, it used to be keyword based. Right now, it can literally read the entire CV and decide if it's right fit for the role or not. So these are the way we would like the AI to be integrated and implemented in the non-profit system. You do not go and use AI for the sake of using AI. You have a business use case where you have an operation that are ongoing, and you figure out what AI can do. Like, for example, in our workspace, we thought, okay, so there was a part of where we were initially trying a few cold callings with organizations, and we thought, let us see where AI can kind of, human efforts can be taken. And we did a little experiment, and we realized, no, AI calling agents are not where it can replace a human calling agent at all. And it is for inbound and outbound both. So you have a use case जहाँ पे आपका कोई ऑपरेशन चल रहा है, आपका नॉन प्रॉफिट चल रहा है, एंड फिगर आउट, अच्छा यहाँ पे कोई स्ट्रगल आ रहा है. सो हमारा स्ट्रगल यही था कि hiring a human person and having them reliable, turning up on time, what was not like something that we were struggling with. So we thought AI can be doing that. So similarly, non-profits या फिर किसी भी organization के लिए Do not think that how can I use AI. Think that मेरे business में क्या क्या चल रहा है, कहाँ पे थोड़ा mess है, and then think कि AI उसमें क्या help कर सकते हैं, and run small pilots. So I would look it in that way, and that's exactly how we do it internally as well.
Very, very relevant. Piyali, I have another question. There are folks who want to transition to the social impact space, and there are people specifically from the tech background, and they're keen to get into social sector. You being on the tech side, if you need to say, how does the tech in social sector looks like if someone want to get into a tech role in social sector, how the salaries, how the arrangements, what does the role look like in sector versus a corporate sector?
I do not think that there is a difference between एक tech role में आप corporate में क्या करोगे या फिर आप non profit में क्या करोगे. Problem statements, digitization, system का automations are more or less same. यहाँ पे भी departments है, programs है, whereas maybe for profit में आपका departments है और projects है जो clients के साथ हो रहा है. यहाँ पे instead of project there are programs and they are funded by some funder. So I think in essence जो tech वाला काम है वो non profit for profit में बहुत सारा like I think skills है जो कि transferable है. The challenge that I have seen that comes whenever I have seen that there someone has made a switch from the tech space from a for-profit background and they have moved to a non-profit tech space. I think it is not the work that was different. It is the approach that they were taking that would be different. I'm giving an example. So there's a CTO I have seen that she used to work with a for-profit, a very large organization. Then she joined another non-profit organization as a CTO. Now, what I have seen, given that I have worked with nonprofits for 10 years, the approach that I would take versus the person who has just come from a for profit, that would have been different. And when I say the approach would be different, I have seen the way that they see the value of money and the way would they spend in terms of automation, where I think in non-profit space, whoever was in the non-profit space for a long time, they will understand each penny matters and each penny has to be reported back to somebody else. Whereas someone when they came from for-profit space, I thought that they were very open-handed when we were starting to spending the money. And they were taking calls where I would think that there would have been a very easier and a cheaper way. So I think the approach would be a little different, but more or less in terms of work, it would be more or less the same, I guess. Yeah.
Can relate. One, definitely the context you mentioned. No, those who watching, if you want to maybe transition from tech to tech for nonprofits, just try to understand the context, and you can volunteer with nonprofits. You can approach nonprofit. You can do employee volunteering, and then there are different ways to just get in sync, get the context right. And what Piyali also mentioned is the pricing. You might be okay to spend on advertisement on buying some subscription, but for nonprofits, we look at each penny, and that's something that make the difference. So also playing with the resource, how do you manage the resources, right, Piyali? Piyali, I have a follow-up question, and this is around career. So someone who want to be part of tech for social good or want to part of your team, what sort of role generally you have in your team and what sort of pay scale that you have?
So there are three types of role that we have internally. One is a developer, which was building the softwares that we have and maintaining and constantly adding to that. The developer, there would be also a need for a support agent. So we have a support team as well. And then there is sales. So primarily, I think sales is still managed by me, but development, support, and will be sales and marketing would be the three primary roles that I can see. Given that we are still in a startup mode and we are pretty much a very new organization in terms of Appo being born. So I think this year onwards, we are full on into Appo. Even until last year, we were doing a lot of Zoho implementation and all. So given that Appo and the product side, this is the first year and we are in a startup phase. So our salary ranges are very modest. And I'll just give you an example of that. I think on the support on all the back office side, 15 to 25K is what kind of offer. And we are talking about freshers to 1 or 2 years experience candidate in these areas. And then on the developer side, we have a budget around 35 plus, and that's for the developers. So this is the budget that we have. And I think in the coming years, we definitely want to increase that and have maybe more experienced candidate. But for now, that's the budget that we work with.
Right, really. And I think those who get early in the any sort of say startup and social sector focused startup, the growth is very, very high. So it's not
Exactly.
limited. It doesn't reflect into this. It's sometimes so that is there. Really, also startups are maybe most cases are the smaller teams, and people get to work on different thematics, different projects, different things. And in that way, if someone want to join you, what sort of skill, knowledge, attitude you look while hiring people for your team?
So I think in terms of skill, knowledge, and attitude, given that we are currently the budget and the salary range we have is only good for freshers to 1 or 2 years experience candidates. So I think more than the skill set, what I see is the attitude and their commitment to the work. And I think one of the things that is like essential for someone to meet if they want to be part of any organization, I would say not only just tech for social good, is just the punctuality and dependability. Like you turn up when you're supposed to turn up, you are regular, and you like whenever you take leave, you give it earlier notification. Not every day you are kind of in the morning you fall sick, because if that happens for 3 4 days, then there's a kind of the organization also will be suffering, because if they're depending on you and all of that. So I think punctuality, predictability, and just the accountability piece is what you bring. Given that mostly the people that we work with, they are in the very junior level professional. So I think the skill part is growing with the organization is something that I think being a little flexible, because if you are joining as a fresher, then there will be a lot of things that you can learn in your early careers. And if you're open to kind of learning things that are coming your way in 5 years or in the next 3 4 years, you cannot even understand like where your skill set will be. So these are the two things. Like, are you open to kind of doing multiple things and not just being fixated on one thing? Because in a startup environment, that will always be the needed thing. And then the accountability and punctuality. That's all. Yeah.
Right, and very specific. I think these are some of the basic expectations. So if you're exploring career and if you're applying for tech for social good, we'll also be sharing the career page with you. And those who are watching also come with that background purely. Someone is just starting or intending to start career in social sector. Some of these folks are transitioning from corporate to social sector. If you need to give one generic advice for them to maybe that might help them just do better, stick to the social sector, if any advice that you have.
So typically, I do not think that whoever is looking out for a job change or maybe looking out for a job, I think sector more than the sector specific, even though I have been in the sector forever, but I think I wouldn't consider jobs only in a particular sector. I think what matters with for anybody's career would be the team that you work with, the manager that you work with, and like the type of person you are versus what the role is being offered. So I think whenever you are kind of looking for a job change and all of that, just the way the manager interviews you, just try to also have a word with them. Try to also understand, because your relationship with your manager and your peers will be a determining factor that you will be able to probably be there for a while, or you have to kind of quit in the middle. So I think just understand, and also your own personal traits and what you like and dislike. So I would say that for anybody and everybody who's trying to look for a new job or switching sectors, whenever you're interviewing, just research about the organization, talk to people who have worked in the organization, and definitely have a couple of rounds interviews or does discussion with the person you will be reporting, because he or she will be a very important person in your life if you decide to do this. And so just do your own research before you kind of jump into anything.
Right, and while you're smiling, I can relate because non-profits definitely, or in general, they ask you about what they something do, or if you have done your research. So anytime you're applying, just read about that or understand if you would relate, understand the people that you work, because some non-profit are very fast in nature, some non-profits go slow, some non-profit work on very complex problems. So when PLE says understand your manager is also around understand what sort of ecosystem you would be working on, so that will
Yeah.
help you do better at whatever you get in. Piyali, you have spent more than a decade around tech for social good, and you became an entrepreneur and now also launching Appo this year. There are aspiring people and they want to be an entrepreneur, and sometime no they stuck because of so many things, or sometime it's about the right time. If you need to give them a simple advice if they aspire to be an entrepreneur, what that would be?
Okay, so I think a couple of things that I have learned from my own entrepreneurial journey, that it's way harder than you first imagine it to be. So it will take a lot of more time and effort than you initially imagine it to be. So, but even though that is the case, it's still worth it. If you have a personality like that, where you want to be kind of running your own thing with your own boss, if you have that type of attitude, even though it will take way more time and effort than you thought, it's still worth it. And it will take a couple of attempts. So do not take your first or second attempt as a failure, because it's just part of the journey. This is not my first thing that I have kind of started. And I can also say it will not be the last thing that I do. So definitely do not take couple of attempts as failures. Keep pivoting till the time something actually clicks. So that's about it.
Great. So those who are watching, thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much, Piyali, for this amazing conversation. It's so good to hear about Tech for Social Good, and we're really excited about the product Appo. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All those who are watching will be just sharing details about Tech for Social Good. Just read about them. If you want to know more, we'll also be adding Piyali's LinkedIn ID. Just write to her and understand if you have any questions. We'll be back with another conversation with another founder sometime next week on Know the Social Sector. Till then, take care. See you soon. Bye bye.